So I just want to address the COVID situation that we are working through. My hat goes off to everybody just for being as organized as we are and being able to make everything work the way we did. And listen, we knew things were going to happen. That's all part of this. It's happening around the league, and everybody's taken into consideration the protocols and following those, and they're working, and so we're we're in the middle of that. We were able to resume today and practice and go about our business. Guys stepped up to fill in for Rick. His people did a nice job with the team and working with them. So again, anticipated this. As far as Chris goes, Chris was back at practice today. That's part of the protocol. They evaluate and they communicate most of all with him and find out with his tracer where he's been, what's been going on. So he was good to go for today. He did practice today. So I'm going to leave it at that and kind of get back on to Carolina. Well, listen, we look forward to the challenge of playing them. And they're a good football team. They're well coached and they play hard. And so we've got to make sure that we take care of business on our end and make sure we're doing the right things. But I think the guys have had a good week of practice here and look forward to that challenge of playing this Carolina football team. So with that, time's yours.
Go first to Adam Teicher. Go ahead, Adam.
Hey, Andy, understand what you said about COVID there, but just curious about Chris's situation. If you could explain a little bit about how he came to be pulled from practice yesterday and why so quickly he's back and on track to play, apparently. And Brad will have one quick follow-up.
Yeah, so I'm not going to get into all that. But it all worked out, and they interview him and talk to him to find out whatever information that they need, and they go from there. But I'm not going to get into the details of it. I mean, that's not what we do. So, but he was back, and we did follow the protocol. I think that's probably the most important thing in the league. It was okayed by the league. So.
Okay. The other thing is just making sure that he's on track to play on Sunday, as well as Sammy Watkins and Frank Clark.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see on Sammy and Frank. Chris is good to go. We just see how those two do, how they work out after, after this practice, just see how they're feeling, and we'll go forward from there. But we'll get you all that information, the DX and all that down the road here.
Go next to Herbie Teope. Go ahead, Herbie.
Hey, Coach, you didn't go over a list of who did not practice today. Mitchell Schwartz, did he practice today? Or
no, Mitch didn't practice today. The rest of the guys practiced, so it was Mitch that didn't go.
Go next to Aaron Ladd. Go ahead, Aaron.
Coach, I asked EB this, but I want to ask you this as well. Is there kind of something different? Obviously, you've coached football for a very long time. Is there something different that you're doing this year, telling the guys, hey, we could lose a day on the field at any time and have to go virtual, whether it's in the meetings, whether it's in the film room, something like that?
Yeah, well, that's real. I mean, these guys are so well educated on it. We coach them up a couple, 3 times a week. It's always on their mind. I mean, they have to put a mask on, right, every day in the facility, and they have the masks on their their helmets and that. So it's there's all kinds of reminders. It's hard though. I mean, that's a hard thing, but they've done a nice job with it. My hat goes off to the guys on trying to do the right things, the best they can. Yeah.
So one more hand up. We'll go last to Matt Derrick. Go ahead, Matt.
Hey, Coach, during the preseason, we got a chance to talk to Rick, and he talked about the COVID protocols and said that testing was not going to prevent an outbreak, but it would test whether the protocols were working. With having a positive test in the organization, does that make you questioning the protocols or feel like that you need to remind everyone that the protocols need to be enforced and following the NFL's intensive protocols?
Yeah, listen, I think things just happen, Matt. I don't. The guys are very aware of everything that's going on, and that we talk about it often. So I don't think that's that's the issue there. So, but I've been pleasantly surprised by how well the guys have done. So they've been very diligent with things, and very easily you could blow things off. That's not the approach they take. Do things happen? Absolutely. Things happen, just like to you or anybody else. I mean, we're trying to be as safe as we possibly can.
Just like I always say each and every week, I hope everyone has been safe. Hopefully everyone's family has remained safe. One thing I wanted to start off with is that, I thought our guys played hard and they played fast for each other. I thought the guys went out and did exactly what we needed to do to come away with a victory. It wasn't it wasn't as clean as I would like it to be, but I'm proud of the fact that we played team ball. I'm also proud of the fact that we're playing where we can get some of our backup players out there to evaluate them and watch them go to work. Another thing I just want to bring this up is, I just want to give special praises, and a shout out to Clark Hunt, Mark Donovan, Pat Mahomes, and all the other guys that helped make this happen. What a special day on Tuesday, a special day, a remarkable day in history for those guys to work it out and allow people to come in and have a great voting experience here at Arrowhead Stadium. That's something that I'll remember for the rest of my life. With that said, I'm all ears.
Let's go first to Pete Sweeney. Go ahead, Pete.
Coach, good afternoon. I was wondering if you could shed whatever light you'd be willing to on how you're deciding right now whether you're going with Clyde in a series or Le'Veon, and is there a scenario where if it's a hot hand, they could get additional time? Just whatever you're willing to share on that front.
Well, I think more than anything, Clyde is our starter. Le'Veon's going to play, and you just allow the process to take care of itself. And the thing that you want to do is make sure that you're keeping up the opposing team off balance. At the end of the day, we just want to make sure that we're maximizing every opportunity when those guys are out there and making sure that we're keeping those guys fresh, but also, too, trying to throw the defense out of rhythm as well.
Let's go next to Aaron Ladd. Go ahead, Aaron.
Coach, obviously a trade at the deadline this week. I'm curious what your last conversation was with DeAndre and maybe where things didn't work out here in Kansas City.
I don't think anything didn't work out. I thought DeAndre did a heck of a job for us. He's the ultimate professional. The thing that you guys don't know, I've known this kid here since he was in high school. When I went back to Colorado, he was one of the kids that I first tried to recruit. So I thought he did an outstanding job of being a professional. Okay, on top of that, he showed up to work each and every day. And so, trades take place. We have a great GM and Brett Veach, and obviously, everybody has value. And so he worked out a deal that was beneficial, not only for us, but also for DeAndre.
Let's go next to Karen Kornacki. Go ahead, Karen.
Hi, Coach. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I have two things. The first thing is just about when you hear a trainer having COVID, just the reaction. I mean, the protocols all work. Chris Jones is back at practice. Everything worked fine. But when you first hear that news, is it almost jarring, like, uh-oh, he's in touch with a lot of people, just as every coach would.
Well, and I'm sorry that you cut out, but one thing I will say, our organization, our coaching staff, the training room, everybody has done a remarkable job of just trying to make sure that they're keeping everyone safe. As far as all the other things, obviously, this is out there. But one thing I do trust is that our organization is doing whatever is needed to make sure that everyone is remaining safe. And so with that comes a great deal of responsibility and accountability. Starts with us as coaches. It goes as far up to Mark Donovan and Clark Hunt, and all the way down to every other employee.
Go next to Sam McDowell. Go ahead, Sam.
Hey, Eric. I had a couple things for you, kind of on different topics. I'll just ask one at a time. The first one is you told us a couple months ago about your mom really kind of giving you a kick in the rear, I think is the way you explained it, to go out and vote. Can you kind of describe what your Tuesday was like?
You know what? It was a day of voting, but you also got to understand it was a day of work. So we have an opponent to prepare for. I took care, me and my family, we took care of our vote a couple of weeks ago. So I was just excited about what was taking place, not only here, but also what was taking place around the country. But as far as the other stuff, we were locked in. We got a great challenge this week and a hell of an opponent that we're about to line up and play. So I wanted to make sure my focus was purely on the Carolina Panthers.
The second thing I wanted to ask you about was Hardman. Obviously, he had a big day statistically on Sunday, but one specific play, that comeback route that he had on the 3rd and long, I know you guys have been working on with some things. Was that a sign maybe of some growth and progression that he's been able to make since he got here in Kansas City?
You know what, McCole has done some great things since he's been here. The thing that we just want him to do is keep striving to put consistent behavior on tape. That's the thing that we're all striving for. You know, I know it's not going to always be perfect, but one thing, in order to do that, we have to strive for perfection in order to achieve excellence. So we just want to continue to stay on him to keep showing exactly what he can do and what he's about. But more importantly, putting that type of behavior on tape each and every week is going to help him, all right, to become the player that we expect. But that starts in practice as well, more than anything.
We've got 4 hands up. We'll go right down the line here, starting with Harold. Go ahead, Harold.
Hey, Coach.
What's up, Harold? How you doing?
Good, man. Doing well. And I thank you for those words on Tuesday. My father expressed the same about it, too. He's been voting since '64. My question to you from a football standpoint, you have coming off a game where Patrick Mahomes throws for 416 yards, but you have your 2 top runners run for 21 and 19. A couple games before, your runners are going for 200 yards, and then your passing game is limited, if you will, compared to what it normally is. How is you as an offensive coordinator just deal with the fact that, you know, you want balance, but the stats just don't show balance, even though you're winning?
I'll say this, Harold. First of all, we just want to find a way to win. That's the most important thing. All right. The stats and the numbers are going to take care of itself. Obviously, Pat had a great day. You know, our run game wasn't as effective as we would like it to be, but that's not going to keep us from pursuing, you know, or keep working at our run game. We want to make sure that we're a well-balanced team. But on top of that, like I said, these guys are good people who are great football players, but also understand the big picture. If one thing isn't working, you know what, and the other one is, guess what? We're going to play great complementary ball. So when that wasn't working, those guys did a heck of a job of picking up blitzes and protection and became reliable receivers on the perimeter. So Pat had a great day. Kudos to Pat. But on top of that, the Kansas City Chiefs found a way to win.
Let's go next to Adam Teicher. Go ahead, Adam.
Hey, Eric, I've got a couple things for you today. First of all, just wondering, is there anything you've learned about Clyde that maybe you didn't know when you drafted him after having coached him for a half a season now? And Brad, I'll have one follow-up for him when he's done.
You know what? That's actually a very good question. And the thing about it is, I had a little insight on Clyde for a long time. I've had a couple of friends that have been coaching at LSU for a number of years. So I kind of got my ears to the street down there on exactly what type of person, what type of player, the type of character that he is. So as far as learning something about him, nothing that I have learned. The thing that I am that finds me intriguing is that the kid works his tail off. You know, that's the thing that I respect and love about him. Now, is it always perfect? Not at all. Is he going to make a mistake? Yes, he is. He has a great coach in dealing that's going to correct him when those things are off tilt. But one thing I respect about the kid is that he comes to work each and every day. He puts his heart out on, and the only thing he wants to do is to find ways to get better.
Okay, and you talked earlier about how meaningful Tuesday was to you. Can you elaborate on that? Why? Share with us why that's so important to you?
Well, I mean, just given, you know, if you think about it, and I can't imagine how many first-time voters had an opportunity to come to Arrowhead Stadium and have this experience and not have to wait in line. And, you know, just to have that experience. I mean, you know, you're at an NFL stadium. This is an NFL stadium that's open up to the general public to come in and vote. It's huge, you know, and to know that Clark Hunt and Mark Donovan and Pat all did a great job of making that happen. I mean, this is something that, you know, it never happened in my time. So in this day and age, it's historical, you know, not just here, but also in other places in different cities where the other teams had that opportunity to open up that resource for their stadium as well.
Let's go last two. We'll go Sarin and then Darren. Go ahead, Sarin.
Coach, just, and I might have a follow-up here, but just overall, the Raiders are the one team that kind of really got you down, right? Kind of 32 points, like not too bad, right? But still, how often, we've seen everybody taking away the deep stuff. You've said, hey, Patrick's being patient. He was able to get some of the deep stuff here against the Jets. How often, I know you've always got to adjust and you guys always have different, directions, paths you can take with a game plan, but how often are you guys on par with what they're going to throw at you? Like as to whether or not it's going to be take away the top or take away the run. I know Harold was talking about it and you guys have seemingly been able to go whichever direction you've needed to, but how often would you say you guys are accurate just over the course of a season of they came at you with what you thought they were coming at you with?
Well, Seren, I'll say this. As a coach, obviously, we got one of the best coaches in this industry, and we make sure we turn everything over. We take a tremendous amount of pride in that as a staff. So our staff, we're pretty much dead on when we feel that we're going to get something. But also, too, there's no absolutes in anything in this game. So we always prepare our guys to expect the unexpected, okay? Yes, we're going to give you everything that we know that they can possibly throw at us. But on top of that, we'll be fools to say that, hey, we got them. Nah, we don't have them because we always got to prepare our guys to expect the unexpected and always have a contingency plan. And so when it's all said and done with, we want our guys to feel confident about going into each and every game, but also too, to make sure if there's a look that they quite haven't seen, make sure that we utilize our rules, focus on our fundamentals, and allow ourselves to execute with great attention to details. And that'll give us the best opportunity to be successful for that one particular play.
And then how much more difficult is it when you're dealing with a new staff, right? I mean, I know everybody's got their history and their background and there are places you can go to take a look at what this guy did here, what this guy did there, but does it present more of a challenge when it's a new staff and you don't have as much of a record?
I'll say this, it's actually kind of funny because I've watched a few Baylor games. So it's been interesting watching some of the things that they do. And obviously some of that stuff has carried over. Coach Snow is a heck of a coach. That whole entire coaching staff, they've done a great job. I mean, it's a reason why they're having the success that they're having. I mean, they got some young studs up front. I mean, this is a very, very good team. And the thing is, yeah, do they present a challenge because we haven't seen them play? Yeah, they do. But on top of that, it is our job to make sure that we're throwing everything at our guys so they can be ready, all right, for anything that possibly can show up.
We'll go last to Darren Smith. Go ahead, Darren.
Hey, Coach. First of all, I hope you're doing well. I generally ask you this from time to time when we're playing a team that has a top stud as a running back. What are your thoughts on Christian McCaffrey? I know he's a legacy son of Ed McCaffrey, but, the professionalism, I know he's the highest paid running back in the game. What is it that you see that's special about him? And is there something that you would hope Clyde, looking on the sidelines, maybe take away from his, from what Christian does on the football field?
Well, here's the thing. First of all, his dad, I played against his dad in college, played against him all through the league, had an opportunity to recruit Christian when he was coming out of high school. We spent a little time with him. I shouldn't say a little time. He spent a lot of time with us up at Colorado because we were right down the street from him when I was there. Christian is a great kid who's an outstanding athlete who can do special things when that ball is in his hands. The thing that makes him special is his work ethics. And if you knew his parents, it would make sense. And if you knew his mother, it would all make sense because she runs the show. But I will say this, as far as Clyde picking up things from other players, such as Christian, you always want those guys to have a great admiration of all these different guys that are playing all these different positions in the league that have played at the highest level, but also to continue to put that consistent behavior on tape. One thing I just want them to do is make sure they respect the opponent, but also too, you can always learn something from someone.
I was wondering if you could just walk us through the process of putting in that fake punt play and specifically Tommy's performance on the play and the throw.
One of the first things we did as soon as we got Tommy, we wanted to see what kind of things that he could do, as a just athlete. We knew he could take off. We saw that on tape, but we weren't sure if he could throw, and put him through some throwing drills, and he could throw that ball pretty good. So, we started working on that play actually back in training camp, and it's been up a couple weeks, which means it was game ready to go, probably about 3 weeks in a row. And we just didn't have the situation where it would come up to we have to use it until that particular play right there. So, he executed it great. I thought he handled it great.
Didn't show any tentativeness in the throw. He kind of stepped into it and made a nice throw. A little high, a little higher than we'd like to see, but he's throwing out there to a wide receiver that can catch the ball. And Pringle he's a playmaker. So we felt pretty comfortable with the play.
Let's go next to Pete Sweeney. Go, Pete.
Good afternoon. Just to follow up on that, what are your nerves like? I know that you've seen Tommy throw in practice, but what are your nerves personally like when it's the call and it's in game and he's about to throw the pass for the first down?
Yeah, by the time we get to a game, we've practiced it so many times, that it looks good. Because if it doesn't look good, we don't put it in. We don't practice. We don't have it up. But if we have a play up and the situation's right, we don't flinch. We're going to call stuff. So we call it, and we didn't flinch on that one. And then Tommy made a great throw, and Pringle made a nice catch, and they executed it perfectly. It kept the drive going in an important part of the game. I mean, it's 7-3. They're going to get the ball back there. They had a little bit of momentum going right there, and that kind of took the momentum away. That's one of the things that we want to try to do on special team is flip momentum, provide a spark for a football team, create field position on offense and defense. So that's, we did our job there.
Let's go next to Seren Petro. Go ahead, Seren.
And Brett, I'll have a follow-up to this. Just for technical side of things, right? I know on your side, you probably
I'm sorry. I didn't hear the first part. I'm sorry. I mean, it was kind of cutting in and out.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. Just on a technical side, I know you probably dive into the rule book maybe more than anybody because of where you're at, but how does that work as far as like if they're trying to put a jam on you on a punt and you end up throwing the ball, how's the pass interference holding? How's all that work into the formation of things?
That's a great question, because in a punt formation, you're allowed to interfere with a player, the outside gunner. So to prevent you from throwing those routes, really, it's a rule that they put in years back. The only thing that a defense can get called for is holding. They can't hold the guy if he takes off on you. But you can, if the ball's in the air, you can hit the receiver, which would be a gunner. You could hit him before the ball gets there legally. So that's one thing that, we teach our corners out there is that if they, if they do throw that thing, just don't go for the ball. Just go knock the guy. You can knock him and knock him on the ground before the ball gets there, because you can't call interference on the widest guy. There's no interference call on that.
And just kind of twofold. One, like there's so many little nuances like that, right? On the special teams, like how much can you make that stick, right? Because I've in the old days we used to be able to be close to your practices, right? And I could hear all the coaches and everything. And I remember messages being sent and game day would come around and guys wouldn't follow it because there's just so many messages you have to send. How do you make sure that all those little nuances are there for so many different guys that are coming and going on your unit?
Yeah, it's a constant battle. I mean, to be honest with you, it's a constant teaching moment. We show tapes, we show clips of big plays that happen to every other team in the league every week. We look at that stuff and we try to learn, from their mistakes and from the things that they've done right. And we talk about it all the time. And we coach both sides of it. You're coaching the offensive side and the defensive side. So, you just have to keep pounding it in their head. I mean, that's what it is. It's coaching, it's teaching. And, it's just repetitions and tape review, and then practice. We get out there and we practice exactly how it's going to be in the game, and we put them in those situations and, see how they react. And they, you have to think fast. Good special teams players are aggressive, but they also have to be very, very smart, and they have to think on their feet, and they have to know the rules. 75% of the rule book has to do with special teams. It's crazy. So, you're right. We do have to know the rules probably more than anybody.
We've got 3 hands up. We'll go right down the line, starting with Adam. Go ahead, Adam.
Hey, Dave, a couple questions about the block field goal. First of all, it looked like Watts almost got one on the long kick, the 55-yard or so. Did you guys see something there during the week that maybe you thought you could exploit? And Brad, I'll ask the next one when he's done.
Yeah, there is every week we have, somebody that we're going to go after on the field goal team or the punt team. If we see a weakness, we're going to practice that block for that particular person or a scheme that they run, that kind of fits game to game. So yes, we did. We saw something there, and really Amani did a nice job of getting through there because it's tough. You got legs and stuff you got to run over, and sometimes you don't come clean. If you don't come clean, it's hard to get a block because the operation's so fast. but he was able to get through there nice and clean and then execute it, keep his eyes open. Sometimes guys come through and they shut their eyes and they turn away and they miss the ball completely. So, but he did a nice job of taking it off, right at the right spot right there and getting the block. The only thing I wish on that play was that, once we scooped and scored it or scooped it up, we got to keep that thing alive. We need to know that situation there. There's only 2 seconds left. And I wish McCall would have, he says he was trying to pitch it to somebody, but I wish he would have. I wish he would have threw that thing up and let somebody get a shot at trying to score right there. Because the time. Yeah.
My next question was actually about him. I have to admit, I hadn't noticed him on the field goal block team before. What's his value out there? Just a fast guy coming around
Fast guy on the edge. He's got one of the best get-offs on our football team. So that's why he's out there. He was out there all year last year. And, I could tell how observant you are, but he was there out there. He was out there all year last year and all there this year too. But until someone gets a block, you really don't know who's out there. So, I mean, I'll give you a little,
I go get a beer when the guys are kicking.
Oh, thanks.
All right, we'll go last to Herbie Toub. Go ahead, Herbie.
Hey, Coach, along those same lines, your first part of the response to Adam's question about noticing something on tape. When you put in a fake punt play like that, how much goes into how the Jets were lined up, or not specific to the Jets, or how an opponent lines up when you know that play could probably work?
Yeah, you watch how the corners play. If they turn and run, if they just turn and run immediately, just run to a spot like a zone drop kind of. Then you got them because they're it's just a man situation really for us. We just turn and then he's going to be breaking on the ball and it's too late to get there. So it's not good against everybody. You have to have the right. It goes against the right scheme. So cat's out of the bag now. I mean, that play's dead for us now for the rest of the year probably. So but we've got it. I'm just glad we executed it.
All right, we'll get started with Herbie Toub. Go ahead, Herbie.
Hey, Anthony, it's looking like the Panthers will have Christian McCaffrey available this week. And when you look at the skill set that he brings to the table, how challenging is that for you as a defense to be aware of where the Panthers like to utilize him?
Yeah, he's a unique back. Obviously, we all know that. He can, he's a good receiving back. He's a hard-nosed runner out the backfield. So, I mean, he's one of the better, athletes in this league. So, we have some things for him and, good for them from having him back. But, I mean, our game plan didn't change much.
Go next to Pete Sweeney. Go ahead, Pete.
Hey, Anthony, thanks for taking some time with us. I remember you mentioned during the offseason a big point of emphasis for you as one of the team leaders was the run defense. What have you seen so far, and what can you continue to do as this goes along to even improve there?
Yeah, we just got to keep improving. I don't think we're where we want to be right now, like overall in the run game, but we showed signs of being great, and we're not giving up many points. I mean, at the end of the day, that's how you win games, is not letting teams score on you and making them kick field goals instead of touchdowns. So sometimes, the score of the game might, make the team run more or run less. So it's a lot of stuff that's kind of not out of our hands, but what we're trying to do is just try to improve in every phase, every week.
Go next to Harold Kuntz. Go ahead, Harold.
Hey, Hitch. Dan Sorensen's a guy that's kind of come along in the last couple of games. Just what are you seeing out of him? And I mean, Tyrann Mathieu even said, he belongs in that group of guys that should be leaders on his team. Do you agree with that as well?
Oh yeah, definitely. From day one, Dan has always been a leader on this defense and special teams in this team. And maybe a lot of people don't talk about it, but we do in house. We all respect Dan, the way he comes to work every day, the way he plays and, the way he carries himself. So he's always been a leader in my eyes and many guys on this team.
Let's go next to Sterin Petro. Go, Sterin.
I think kind of a follow-up from what Pete asked you about the run defense and everything. On the modern game, the analytics guys will tell you, like, you win and lose with the pass, right? And you guys are like number 3 against the pass. You mentioned points. It's about points. You're number 3 in points allowed. I know, like, old school football, right? You're not an old man, but I'm sure you had coaches back in the day. Everything was run the ball, stop the run, impose your will. And it seems like the game has evolved to more of a cerebral approach maybe and throwing the ball. Is that, something Steve Spagnuolo focuses on? Is that a hard maybe mindset to break that really it seems like the NFL has won and lost by defending on the defensive side, by defending the pass and maybe not so much the macho knock somebody down run defense approach?
Yeah, I think that varies to No, week to week. I mean, obviously, if your best players in your backfield, you don't want a team running the ball, you know. So I think it varies week to week, and in this league, there's a bunch of good players on the outside and the inside. So I just think every week, if we can make a team one dimensional, whether we will rather them sit there and run the ball 40 times, or whether we have the quarterback, sit back and drop back 40 times. So that's just a thing we put in, on Tuesday. In our defensive meeting. So it varies from week to week. But at the end of the day, like you said, it's about the points, not giving up points, making them kick field goals in the red zone. So our thing is keep them 17 or under, and and keep them out of the end zone as much as possible.
Looks like we'll go last to Adam Teicher. Go ahead, Adam.
Hey, Anthony, you talked earlier about wanting maybe some improvement in the run defense, but I was wondering whether there are any other specific areas you're looking for the defense to improve over the second half of the season, other than just kind of generally getting better, whether that's whatever, red zone or third down, whatever it might be.
Yeah, red zone. I think Spags putting a big emphasis on red zone. When we had our opportunity, lately we've been pretty good, but there was a couple weeks there where we was kind of struggling. Yeah, red zone, third down, and points. Man, that's our main three things. We win on third down, we win in the red zone, and we keep them under 17 or under. Our chances go way up to winning the ball game. So those are the three main areas we're just going to keep working on. And third down is huge in this league.
Okay, we're good.
We're good. We're ready to roll.
All right, it's a Friday, and I'm holding the guys up there, so I'm not gonna say too much. I'll just open it up and we can roll, Brad.
Let's start first with Herbie Teope. Go ahead, Herbie.
Hey, Coach. Good afternoon.
Hi, Herbie.
You've been around some pretty unique running backs throughout your career. Steven Jackson in St. Louis, and then obviously Darren Sproles in New Orleans. Now you get to face a guy like Christian McCaffrey. Well, what is it about him that is unique, and what sets these kinds of backs apart from others, especially when you're defending against them?
Yeah, it's normally easy when they put a bunch of wideouts in, you have wideouts, and they take running backs, put them in, you have running backs. That's what they do. But this guy does everything. In some packages, you need to sit there and treat him as a wideout, and then you got to treat him as back. The challenge is, as the game's going and they're changing what he is and where he goes, that our guys are in tune to that. So that's the biggest challenge. It's we don't want to get in a unfavorable mismatch on our side. So that will be the game that we'll try to play and not put anybody in a tough situation, because we fully expect him to come out there and do what he does, which is everything. Run it, catch it, and who knows, he might want to throw it too. I know I've seen tape of him throwing it, so we're ready for all of it.
Let's go next to Adam Teicher. Go ahead, Adam.
Hey, Steve, a couple questions about Tershawn Wharton. In camp, or in the virtual off season, could you tell what you had there? I mean, did you have any idea that maybe he was at that point going to be more than just a developmental type guy? And Brad, I'll have a quick follow-up as well.
Yeah, I don't know that Coach, Brendan and I knew whether he was going to be part of it, like you're saying. But I do remember Coach Daly, after they would have their individual Zoom meetings, and we would talk as a staff about the new guys. I do remember him being thoroughly impressed with Turk and Mike Dana in terms of the cerebralness of football and how much they were into it and how hard they worked at it. But it was strictly a guessing game on the physical part of it. But it didn't take long to figure out that he had a pretty good little niche, and he's got some explosiveness. That both those guys, I know we're talking about Turk, but both those young guys have been very, very helpful.
And then was there any moments in actual training camp where you said, okay, this guy might be Division II and he might be a rookie, but he's going to be able to play for us. He's going to be able to help us this year.
Yeah, I do know that the strength coaches, I remember coming to us early about how strong he was in the weight room. And again, after we got going with pads on a little bit here and there, I do remember Brendan saying to me, hey, we might have something here. So it was fairly early, and then it was just a learning curve and a kind of a growth maturity process and learning the defense. But he's great to have around.
Let's go next to Matt Derrick. Go ahead, Matt.
Hey, Coach. Earlier this week, Traverse Ward had mentioned on social media, he says he's in a slump and he's got to come out of it. Curious, just what your kind of take is on how he's playing right now. Is he in this slump, and what does he need to do to get out of it if he is?
Yeah, I thoroughly do not think he's in a slump. Somebody asked me that. I think we were doing a production meeting yesterday, and I wasn't aware of it until they said that, and you're bringing it up. No, I wouldn't say that. Listen. This is the way I explained it. When you're a press team, which we do with our corners, and Travarius is pressed a lot on a wide out, some of the best work that those corners do goes fully unnoticed because the quarterback doesn't throw it over there because he's got them all covered. And I think there's a number of plays out there where C-Dub is doing that. A play is sticking in my head right now that nobody will see this to recognize, but it was the 4th and 4 at the end of the half. We actually had his man doubled, and the inside double kind of got lost, and so it opened up and looked like. But I thought what he did on that play and getting that receiver down, he tried to club the ball out. These are the little things that I see. He does it all the time in practice. He's detailed. He's become the consummate pro. No, a slump is not a word that I would use to say. But listen, I'm glad he thinks that way because that just tells me he just wants to get better and better. So I respect that.
Next to Steve Walls. Go ahead, Steve.
Hey, Coach. Just at the halfway point this season, and I don't know if you self-scout your guys in season, but what grade would you give your guys, your defense thus far? And in your eyes, where do you see the biggest needed improvement to be successful down the stretch?
Yeah, I don't do the grade thing. When I say that is I'm not going to spit anything out on a grade. I'll tell you why. I believe the only time that you get into stats, standings, statistics, whatever you want to say, is at the end of the year when it's all over. I don't know that we don't talk very much about it, to be honest with you, as a staff or as a unit about where we stand here and we're good in this one and we're not so good in that one. We just feel like, and this is being truthful now, we just feel like we need to get better at everything all the time. If we happen to be number one in something this particular week or up to this point, we certainly wouldn't say, we don't have to work on that. We're first and whatever. But that's just how we go about it. It's always about getting better because we know the next game is always going to be the toughest game. So that's just how we approach it.
Next to Pete Sweeney. Go ahead, Pete.
Hey, Steve, a similar question. When you took over a year ago, you had said this is going to be a slow burn where you're going to try to start basic and then slowly add and add. Now that you're a year and a half in, I was wondering if it's about where you thought you could as far as different blitzes and things like that.
Yeah.
Are you ahead of schedule or just where you're at?
That's a good question. I haven't pondered that ahead or behind. Maybe right on schedule. I do feel very comfortable in, I think the whole staff does, in adding, expanding, putting things in and knowing that the players can handle it. I mean, I have that confidence in guys like Hitch and Tyron and the guys up front. They really roll with it really pretty good. Some of the best work that our defensive unit does, and it's between coaches and the players, is the in-game things that they do. Brendan, Matt, Britt, Dave and Sam, the work they do on the sideline while the game's going on and the interim with the players is really terrific, and that helps us a lot. It helps me out a lot.
Let's go last to Karen Kornacki. Go ahead, Karen.
Hi, Coach Spags. I've been rolling on this, but I just got the chance to sit down and want to ask you, when you heard that your head trainer had COVID and then Chris Jones had to sit out and all the protocols are working, and as a result, today's schedule is a little different with offense and defense. Does it make you feel better that everything's working the way it's supposed to when those things happen during this pandemic? Or is there still a little bit of that, oh gosh, we've been doing so well and now this? I mean, what is your gut reaction when that news kind of comes along and things immediately go into effect?
Yeah, I mean, look, first of all, we have a lot of confidence in the way things have functioned here and the people that are in charge. I know I do. And I would say this, Coach Reid, and he's been like this since all the years I've been with him, is as solid as a rock in everything. And I think that it just filters to all of us. He is the best at not letting distractions or anything throw him off. I think the players see that, the coaches see it, and it keeps us all, and we all feel comfortable about how we're handling things. And then I think, again, it comes back to trust in the people that are in charge in particular areas who I think do an outstanding job, and and just point at the leadership of Andy. And that's why I think all of us feel the way we do.